Hello, my name is Peyton French, and I'm going to teach you how to change a tire. It's a skill that not many people have in today's world because everybody just takes a car to the shop to get it worked on, or if they don't know how to do it. Things are getting more and more complicated. But changing a tire has remained the same for a very long time and has been the same concept for pretty much as long as vehicles have been around. Now, if you don't know how to change a tire, then you probably don't care to learn to either. But if you want to learn or you need to learn, this video is for you. Now there's about 10 or 11 steps to go through to completely change an old tire and put a new one on. It's not that hard, it just takes a little bit of time, and sometimes you'll mess up on your first one, but it'll come around. The first step to do when you're changing your tire is to find good ground to park your vehicle on. You want something that's level, preferably concrete, that you're not going to slide around on or sink into the ground or anything like that. The second step that you're going to need to do is to make sure that the vehicle is engaged, the part is engaged in the vehicle. Now that's going to keep the wheels from rolling, keep it from moving anywhere. But just for extra precaution, you're also going to want to put the emergency brake on inside the vehicle if you have one. The third step to changing your tire is to get the jack ready. You're going to want a jack, something like this, or anything that came with your car will work. But what you're going to do is slide it underneath your vehicle and get it into place. You're going to want to put it into place that could support a lot of the vehicle's weight. Nothing that's plastic, nothing small sheet metal. You're going to want to put it underneath the frame or your axles. So once you get the jack underneath into a safe place, you're going to want to jack it up, do the pump action until the jack gets to whatever it's going to be pushing against. And once it gets to that place, you just apply a little bit of pressure. Though you don't have to pick up the whole vehicle yet. Just get a little pressure put on it and get the jack ready. Now the next thing you're going to want to do is get an appropriate size wrench and go to your lug nuts on the tire that is flat or currently needs to be changed, and you're going to loosen your lug nuts. Just break the seal on all of them and go around and get them loose. You don't want to take them completely off at this point because the wheel would fall off and the vehicle would fall. So you're just going to get them loose and leave them on there. Once you do that, you're going to actually want to jack up the vehicle. Go to the jack and completely get the wheel where it's lifted off of the ground. Now once the wheel is off the ground, you should be able to spin it, or if your parking brake engages, then you won't be able to spin it, but it will be loose and off the ground. So once you don't want to jack it up too high either, because you don't want to tip over or have the more you jack it up, the farther your vehicle could fall to the ground. So keeping it just a little bit off the ground, enough to be able to work with. The next step that you're going to want to do is remove the lug nuts. So once your vehicle is up, you're going to take all the lug nuts completely off of the bolts, and at that point your tire should be able to come right off. So once you got the nuts off, the tire slides right off of the bolts, and you can wheel it wherever you need to, get it out of the way. And then you're going to want to get your spare and put it near where you're going to need your hub. And once you get the spare right there, you're going to want to line the bolt pattern up on the tire with the bolt pattern on the hub of the vehicle. So once you get it lined up, you can usually just slide the tire right onto the bolts. So once you got that on there, you want to start putting your lug nuts back on. And I didn't say earlier, you want to keep your lug nuts all together in one place. Don't lose any of them because new tires do not come with new lug nuts, and you want to keep those. So you start putting your old ones back on and get them snug up against the tire. You don't want to completely dog them down yet because your tire would spin when you try to turn the wrench. So once you get the bolts snug, you can set the vehicle completely down, or set your tire on the ground, keep the jack underneath of it, keep a little bit of pressure on the jack, but just let the tire have a little bit of weight. And at that point, your tire will have settled and some of the boot lug nuts will have come loose and you can tighten them right back up. Some of them will still be tight. You can give them a quick tap to make sure that they are tight. But once you get them all on there and the vehicle is set down, you can get a torque wrench or use a gauge to be able to get the torque to the specifications of the vehicle. Like this needs to be 100-pound torque on these lug nuts each. And you don't want to kind of skimp on tightening them down, because if you don't, it's always a chance that your tire could come off while you're going down the road, and that is not something you want to happen. So now that you got your new tire on there, it's ready to drive. So you can give it a quick test drive and go slow at first, make sure you don't feel anything weird with it, and make sure everything's working right. And you pretty much just learned how to change a tire, and that's pretty much it. It's those 10 or 11 steps to get you right through it, and you'll know a skill that not many people know nowadays, and it'll be very useful to you, hopefully. Hopefully you won't ever have to be put in a situation where you need to know how to change your tire, but to the best of luck to you.